good, my Lick, me? Welcome back to another lovely, beautiful, sexy, amazing video with equally lovely, equally beautiful, equally sexy, and equally amazing LiTTy. I already know what time it is. Now let's go. Now guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, J Hus has absolutely let the fans down because this album rollout has been complete and utter trash. And we're gonna break this down in way more detail. We already know what you gotta do. You just gotta like, comment, subscribe to me up to him, drop a banger like this one, and hit that note because you're in the so you can be the first to know when one of these videos comes out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now guys, in today's video, I wanted to do a bit of a retrospective on the J Hus 2023 album rollout plan and how I feel that it's been a complete failure from top to bottom, for lack of a better word. Of course, if you didn't already know, J Hus dropped his third studio album, Beautiful and Brutal Yard, this year, and I just don't think the whole rollout was handled very well. There were some key mistakes that were made that I'd like to point out within this video, so just stay tuned. Now, the first mistake that I think was made in the J Hus album rollout was poor singles choice / execution. The singles that were put out for J Hus in the lead up for his album were not the right choices, I'm not gonna lie. Who at his management team thought that the perfect song to reintroduce J Hus back into the public would be It's Crazy? That's crazy in itself. Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Huh? What idiot thought that the first words we wanted to hear from J Hus after 3 years is the devil in me, the demon in me? I mean, do I even need to explain why that's a bad first tune to reintroduce the public to your artist? I mean, the jokes literally write themselves with that one, and the results showed there as well, because the song didn't even make it into the top 10, which is very poor for a J Hus comeback song, let's be real. And to add further insult to injury, this song is the second lowest streamed song of the whole album on Spotify. Let me repeat that. Let that sink in. The lead single for the album is the second lowest streamed song on the album on Spotify. Absolutely abysmal. And I know some people are going to say, oh, but what about the single version? Which, cool, if we look at the single version, it does have 10 million streams. But again, if we combine the single version with the album version, it only makes like 12 million streams, which, I mean, that's cool. But again, that's still a bit of a disappointment for J Hus's first comeback song. Let's be real. Now then, if we fast forward to the next song that I feel should have been the original first and lead single to the album, which was Who Told You. And I'm not gonna lie, Who Told You is a banger. It had the right kind of vibe that we would expect from a J Hus song, or at least a J Hus single, I would say. However, again, the rollout failed here because, like someone who had the combined brain cells of a pineapple, they decided to drop the song while Central C and Dave were dominating the charts with their hit song Sprinter. And the poor choice of release date here basically stopped Hus from getting his first ever #1 single, which, as we all know, is a huge feat that every artist wants to achieve at some point in their career. The song was basically trailing behind at #2 for weeks, so even if they dropped this song just a couple weeks later, there was a high likelihood that it could have went #1. They decided to drop the tune and Sprinter was at the height of its popularity, so they were basically saying they were trying to knock Sprinter off the #1 spot, and obviously the combined star power of J Hus and Drake was not enough to knock off Central C and Dave's motion. So again, I have to put the fault at whoever is behind J Hus making these sort of decisions, because clearly they're not skilled enough or not honed in enough to what's going on in the music scene to judge when exactly is the right time to strike with these sorts of singles. You would think that once you've got a song with a Drake feature that you would put all the money behind, all the motion behind to get that song to #1, and yet we don't even have a music video for that song. They didn't even try and push some sort of TikTok trend for that song or ways to market that song. There's a million different ways that song could have been marketed and pushed to #1, but what they do, they just chucked it out there. It's just disappointing, man. It's just really disappointing. It's abysmal. Bonkers. Now, the second reason why this rollout has been so poor is there is no tour. Now, if you didn't already know, J Hus recently popped out at the O2 last Thursday at the 21 Savage concert, and of course he shut the place down as he should. But then I started thinking to myself, wait, wasn't this guy supposed to perform 2 shows at the O2 Arena last month? And of course, I was right. He had 2 shows scheduled for the 5th and 6th of November, and they got cancelled. Now, if you didn't already know, a tour is a very important part of the rollout, because not only do you get to collect a huge bag, but you also get to see the reaction to your album and keep the momentum of your album going for a little bit longer. But this cancellation has just put all of that on a complete standstill. And if I'm being perfectly honest, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here to suggest that the shows got cancelled because they didn't sell enough tickets. The fact that Hus showed up to the O2 and performed is a huge slap in the face to his fans, of course, but it's also a sign that there's nothing wrong with Hus per se. It's not like he's ill or that he lost his voice or something like that, and it's not like there was a problem with the O2 Arena that they couldn't have him on that day, because iShowSpeed had a live show on that same day, and let's be real, they didn't cancel the J Hus show so iShowSpeed could do a live stream instead. Although, to be fair, iShowSpeed has a lot of motion, so that might be the case, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. And of course, in typical fashion, Hus has provided the fans with no explanation as to why the shows aren't happening, so I'm afraid I'll have to come up with my own speculation, and the speculation is that these shows weren't selling the way they thought they would. I didn't see no tweets or no big announcements coming out saying that Hus sold out the O2 like they do when DBE sells out the O2 or when Dave sells out the O2. The only explanation that we got is it's unforeseen circumstances and that there's a promise for dates next summer, but I'll be real, who gives a fuck next summer? like, who cares next summer? I don't care, don't care, I don't care, don't care. Unless Hus is in motion from now until next summer and he's still dropping bangers month after month or 2 month after 2 month from now until then, who cares, man? I'm sorry, but this album is kind of mid and it hasn't got the motion required for people to still be interested in the summer of 2024. I mean, if they weren't interested now, if they weren't interested this year, the year that the album came out, why on earth would they be more interested or the same level of interested next year? Let's be real, the music business is a very fickle one, Hus, and you've been very absent from it for the past 3 years. And then, I mean, to add further insult to injury, he's deactivated his IG account for the 100th time, so it's like he's not even making a conscious effort to stay within the zeitgeist or to have people remember him. It just looks like he doesn't care. I don't know. Am I crazy? Is it crazy? I don't know what's going on at the J Hus camp, but it's not looking good, bruv. And the final point I want to make about why this album rollout was so poor is that the presence before and after the album drop was whack. There seemed to be a lot of neglect for J Hus's presence on other social media platforms in the lead up to the album. We've seen this done in America numerous times with, you know, people appearing on Hot Ones or on sneaker shopping or things like that prior to an album's release. And we've even got our own versions of these things now in the UK to capitalize on with things like, you know, the Kick Game shoe shopping thing, or making a video with the Beta Squad, or doing the ZZ Mills show, and you know, things of that nature. But I mean, J Hus did not participate in any of these things. I can't find one single interview with him throughout this entire year. No radio interview, no video interview, no nighttime TV interview. I can't even find a video of someone asking him how much his fit costs, or you know them man there. Like, all I see is there's one video of him sitting in a car with someone and they're playing the album, but I don't know who's in the car. That could be his boy for all I know. And it's like, this isn't the J Hus that I remember. I remember back in the day when Common Sense was coming out, this guy wanted to be everywhere. He was doing interviews. He was saying, oh yeah, I seen the love that Stormzy got on his album. I want that same level of love. He was committed. He was focused. But I don't know, man. It's like now he's lost his hunger. He's lost his appetite. It's like he thinks he's sitting at the top and he ain't got to put in no work. But I don't know, Hus. All of the elements that I've just mentioned combined together to give us the poor result that we're seeing from you. You know, cancelled tours due to low ticket sales. This album had the lowest album sales of Hus's entire career so far, and the lowest streams for an album of his so far as well. So you might think you're sitting at the top, but you're really not, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
This has been your worst performing year so far, apart from you getting your highest single. Other than that, the motion hasn't really been happening like that, Hus. I'm not gonna lie. So my advice to J Hus and his management team as a whole is that going into 2024, there needs to be a serious revamp done with how you guys are handling Hus as an artist, because whoever is making the shots and making the final decisions, you're bricking like Shaq at the free throw line. I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good, bruv.
Yeah, that's true. Now let's go back to my nigga on the floor.
I like Hus, pause. So I don't want to see him, you know, failing. I want to see him winning. He makes good music. There's some good songs on this album, but there's also some really, really shit ones, I can't lie. So, can't have your cake and eat it too. But in the words of anyone,
it's a bit of a sticky one still.
But let me know if you think about this in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you agree with my retrospective, or do you think I'm chatting absolute was? Let me know in the comment section down below respectfully. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. But on the road to 2,000 subs, you already know what time it is. You follow my personal IG at theonlylitt. If you care about what I do, I'm not making these bangers for you. I post updates on Twitter as well, so you might as well follow me on there, because what else you do with your life? Absolutely nothing, mate. Stay black, and if you're not black, stay whatever race you are. I bet.
Well, you ain't know I could sing.